Rocco Musumeci and Antonia Musumeci had been married for 22 years. Together they had 5 children. Their life together spanned decades in Chicago. During this period, Rocco abandoned the family home. He left Antonia to care for their children alone. Antonia subsequently made the difficult decision to file for divorce. The legal process began. In the year 1948, the case proceeded through the courts. A hearing was scheduled. On September 8, 1948, Rocco and Antonia were outside the Chicago courthouse. The air carried the sounds of city life. Rocco approached Antonia as she prepared to enter. He spoke to her, his voice filled with urgency. He pleaded with her, asking for forgiveness. He expressed deep regret for his absence and actions. As he spoke, Rocco dropped to his knees. He grasped the edge of Antonia's coat. His words continued, a desperate appeal for her to reconsider the divorce. He begged her not to end their marriage. Antonia stood above him. She remained silent, her face turned away. She offered no indication of changing her mind. Her posture and stillness conveyed her resolve. Throughout the era, divorce was becoming more common in the United States, though it still carried significant social stigma for many. Legal proceedings often took place publicly. As events unfolded, Antonia proceeded with the divorce. The court eventually granted her request. The emotional scene outside the courthouse that day captured a moment of personal drama against the backdrop of changing American society. Rocco's public act of desperation did not ultimately alter the legal outcome. The grounds for divorce accepted by the court included desertion. Illinois law in 1948 required specific fault-based reasons to dissolve a marriage. Following the decree, Antonia was awarded custody of the 5 children. The court also mandated child support payments from Rocco. Raising 5 children as a single parent presented considerable economic difficulties for Antonia. She undertook work to support her family after the divorce. Rocco subsequently established a separate residence. His direct involvement in the daily lives of his children became significantly reduced. Throughout the era, divorced women often faced societal judgment and financial insecurity. Support structures for single mothers were limited. The 5 children experienced the challenges of a divided family home during their formative years in the 1950s. Their lives were shaped by the consequences of their parents' separation. As events unfolded after 1948, legal approaches to divorce and family obligations continued their gradual transformation in the United States. The Musumeci family's experience highlighted the personal costs associated with marital dissolution during that historical period. Press representatives often waited outside courthouses, hoping to document newsworthy proceedings or events. On September 8, 1948, a recorder was present outside the Chicago building. The moment Rocco knelt and pleaded with Antonia was captured. It documented a raw emotional exchange in a public space. Following its capture, the documentation of the scene was quickly disseminated. It traveled through media channels commonly used at the time. The recording of the interaction subsequently appeared in newspapers across the United States. It brought the private despair of the Musumeci family into public awareness. The widely distributed depiction of the moment resonated with many people. It became a powerful, if simplified, portrayal of the personal pain sometimes involved in the legal dissolution of marriage. Throughout the era, such scenes provided the public with glimpses into the changing social fabric. Marital discord and its resolution were increasingly documented. As events unfolded in the years after the divorce, Rocco and Antonia lived separate lives. Their paths diverged permanently after the court's ruling in 1948. Both Rocco and Antonia eventually passed away in Chicago decades later. Their story, particularly the captured moment outside the courthouse, became part of the historical record concerning divorce in the mid-20th century. The widespread circulation of the documentation of the scene outside the courthouse provoked considerable public discussion. It served for many as a stark example of the intense emotional strife that could accompany marital breakdown. Throughout the era, such publicly accessible instances contributed to the ongoing and often difficult societal conversations about changing family structures. Discussions surrounding divorce and its impact on individuals became more common. During this period in the United States, the legal framework for divorce remained primarily rooted in requiring one spouse to prove specific wrongdoing or fault on the part of the other. Desertion, as the court accepted in the Musumesa case, was one of several grounds required. In later decades, the legal approach to dissolving marriages began a significant transformation. The concept of fault-based divorce gradually started to be questioned and then actively reformed. In the year 1969, California enacted a landmark law, becoming the first state to adopt a system of no-fault divorce. This new legal framework allowed couples to dissolve a marriage without needing to prove that one party was responsible for the failure. Subsequently, other states followed California's lead. By the 1980s, the majority of states had moved towards adopting some version of no-fault divorce legislation. This widespread shift in divorce law represented a fundamental change in the legal and social understanding of marriage dissolution. It marked a significant departure from the system Antonia Musumeci navigated when she sought her divorce in 1948, highlighting how much the legal landscape evolved over the latter half of the 20th century. The moment outside the Chicago courthouse on September 8, 1948, publicly documented as it was, serves as a powerful historical marker. It represents a specific point in time when divorce was legally predicated on fault and often played out with intense personal drama in the public sphere.